वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। पठामि संस्कृतं नित्यं वदामि संस्कृतं सदा ध्यायामि संस्कृतं सम्यक् वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम्।
धन्यवादः महोदय। So Anuradha Mahodaya is not feeling well today, so I am substituting for her. Astu Arambham Kurmaha. So today we will start learning about an important topic called वयरचन. So that is basically how, given a shloka, can we go about knowing its meaning. So everything that we encounter in Sanskritam is in the form of a shloka most of the time. So how do we go about deciphering a shloka? In a vakyam, things are arranged in a nice way for us. Kriya padam is at the end, karta is usually in the beginning, Visheshana, Vishesha, padas go together, etc. But in a shloka that is not guaranteed. So how do we go about doing that? So the foundation for all of that is something called akanksha krama, or asking questions. So let us first revise the different prashnavachaka shabdas that we have studied. Vijay Sundaram Mahodaya, do you remember any of the prashnavachaka shabdas?
Kaha, ka, kim, kasya, kani, kasmai, kebhyah.
Hina Mahodaya. Na shruyate. You are on mute, Mahodaya.
Yeah, okay. Kaha, kau, ke, kam, ke, kan. Like that, all the kena, kabhyam, kaihi.
Uttama. All the kim shabda vibhakti forms.
Kim shabda, yeah, they are for the questions, yeah.
Pumlinga, Strilinga, and Napumsakalinga.
Napumsakalinga.
What did we study other than kim? Do you remember?
Yachati va, or something like that. Va.
That is va is also used. Satyam. Manjusha Mahodaya, place. If you want to know about a place, Thalam. What is the question here?
Kutra.
Kutra.
Kutaha.
Uttamam. Samayasya vishe.
Kada. Aham vadami vagre.
Vadatu. Ke smarati.
Kim kutra kati kada kutaha katham kimartham.
Satyam. Yete tasya nama kim.
There
is a specific term for
सप्तककाराः
उत्तमं सप्तककाराः. So why
अच्छा
kakaraha? What does kakaraha mean?
ते शब्दाः का का व्यञ्जनम् आरम्भं व्यञ्जनात् आरम्भं करो
Bhavati.
आरम्भं कृतं.
Uttamam. All 7 questions, they start with the ka akshara. So they are called kakara, and there are 7 in number. So as Manjusha Mahodaya said, can you see my screen?
आम् महोदय.
अस्तु. किं किमर्थं कति कथं कुतः कदा कुत्र. So this is not to say that only these 7 questions exist, but these are the most commonly used questions. And under the Kim umbrella are the question forms that we studied. Kaha kauke, kam kaukan, kena kabhyam kaiti for Pumlinga, ka ke kaha, kam ke kaha, etc. for Strilinga, kim te kani for Napumsakalinga. So these 7 together are called Saptakakaraha. There's one more Kiyat is also there. Agre Pasham. So next Vijay Meenan Mahodaya. Kim Shabda Pumlinga form. Do you remember?
Pulinga Kim Shabda, yeah.
Kaha kauke.
Okay. Kaha kauke kam kau kam. Kan. Okay. Kam kau kan. Tritiya will be kena kabhyam. Kena kabhyam kaihi.
Uttamam.
Chaturthi will be kasmai kabhyam. Kebhyah. Then Panchami will be Kasmat. Is it Kasmat? Kabhyam. Kasmat Kabhyam. Again Kebhyah. Shashti Kasya Kayoho. And Kesham. Right? And Saptami will be Kasmin, Kayoho, and Keshu.
Uttamam. Priya Mahodaya, Bhavati Strilinga Rupani vadati va?
आम् महोदय. स्त्रीलिङ्गरूपं का के काः कां के काः कया काभ्यां काभिः कस्यै काभ्यां काभिः
काभ्यः
कस्यै काभ्यां काभ्यः कस्याः काभ्यां काभ्यः कस्याः कयोः कासाम्.
उत्तमम्.
कस्यां कयोः कासु.
उत्तमम्. So we have been okay, let's finish off with Napumsakalinga. Rajashri Mahodaya, Bhavati vadati va? Napumsakalinge kim shabdasya rupam?
नमस्ते महोदय क्षम्यतां विलम्बेन आगतवती
चिन्ता नास्ति. Today Anuradha Mahodaya is not feeling well, so I'm substituting for her.
अस्तु
वदतु महोदय.
किं के कानि केन काभ्यां कैः कस्मै काभ्यां केभ्यः कस्मात् काभ्यां केभ्यः कस्य कयोः केषां कस्मिन् कयोः केषु
उत्तमम् उत्तमम् नपुंसकलिङ्गे प्रथमा द्वितीया विभक्ति रूपाणि समानं भवन्ति तृतीया आरभ्य सप्तपर्यन्तं पुंलिङ्गम् अनुसृत्य उत्तमम्. So one of the things about the kim shabda, or actually many Prashnavatik shabdas that are not avyayas, is that they follow the Visheshana Vishesha Bhava. So we have been studying Visheshana Vishesha Bhava with many different words, right? So the Prashnavatakas also follow the Visheshana Vishesha Bhava. So for example, we will say kaha balakaha, not kim balakaha or ka balakaha. Same way ka balika, kim pustakam, ityadi. And it follows for all 7 vibhaktis, all 3 vachanas. So let us do some abhyasa. It will become more clear what I mean by that. Atra ekah gajah asti. Saha kaha. So who is he? That is the prashna. Saha gajah. Anantaram tasya ekam visheshanamati sthapayamaha. Saha sthulah gajah. A big elephant. So now let us so kaha, as we know, pumlinga is, since this is gaja, it is pumlinga ekavachanam prathama vibhakti. Let us form a question in dvitiya vibhakti using gajaha, gaja and sthula. Preeti Mahoday, bhavati kavat. Any question you want?
In prathama vibhakti.
Prathama vibhakti abhavat, dvitiya vibhaktau karoti.
Dvitiya asti.
Ekakshanam. Atra pashyantu. Saha is, we are saying he, right? So kaha is following kaha. So kaha, saha kaha, saha stulaha gajaha. So who is that elephant we are talking about? So that the way you ask that question is kaha saha or saha kaha. Kaha, so it's in the prathama vibhakti. Similarly, try to form a question. What is the dvitiya vibhakti form of kaha? Kim shabda?
Kam.
Kam.
Kam. Kam gajam pashyati.
Uttamam. Kam gajam pashyati. Kam gajam pashyati. Stula iti api upayogam karotu.
Kam kidrisham. No. Do you want the answer in
Prashna? We are doing abhyas of the Prashnavataka.
Kidrisham kam no kam gajam pashyati. If you ask,
Satyam. Kam gajam pashyami, kam stulam gajam pashyami is also correct. So what does kam gajam pashyami mean? What does this mean? Which elephant I am seeing?
Which elephant?
Kam stulam gajam pashyami. What does that mean?
I am looking at that.
Kam.
Elephant.
Kam stulam gajam pashyami iti prashna asti chet. What does that mean?
Which elephant? That elephant.
Which big elephant am I seeing?
Big
Which big elephant I am seeing? Kam stulam gajam pashyami. Like that. So again, kam is in dvitiya ekavachanam because gajam is in dvitiya ekavachanam. Tritiya vibhaktau api karotu Preeti Mahoday.
Aham kena gajena vanam gacchami.
उत्तमम् अर्थः कः तस्य
With which elephant am I going to the forest?
उत्तमं समाधानमपि ददातु
Aham tena स्थूलेन गजेन सह और गजेन सह वनम गच्छामि.
उत्तमम् उत्तमम् अहं केन गजेन वनं गच्छामि तेन स्थूलेन गजेन सह वनं गच्छामि. उत्तमं मञ्जूषा महोदय चतुर्थी विभक्तौ प्रश्नं पृच्छतु.
अहं कस्मै कस्मै गजाय भोजनं ददामि कदलीफलं ददामि. अहं तस्मै स्थूलाय गजाय कदलीफलं ददामि.
उत्तमम् उत्तमं कस्मै गजाय तस्मै स्थूलाय गजाय. पञ्चमी
अहं कस्मात् गजात् पुष्पं स्वीकरोमि. अहं तस्मात् स्थूलात् गजात् पुष्पं स्वीकरोमि.
उत्तमं धन्यवादः. हीना महोदय षष्ठी विभक्तौ वाक्यं रचयतु.
सः कस्य कस्य गजस्य दन्त
श्वेतवर्णः दन्तः श्वेतवर्णः.
श्वेतवर्णः.
समाधानमपि ददातु.
कस्य गजस्य दन्त श्वेतवर्ण अस्ति. Means which elephant has a Svetavarna, a white one, Dantashula.
उत्तमं. What is one answer? What is one possible answer for that?
तस्य गजस्य दन्तशूल श्वेतवर्णम् अस्ति.
श्वेतवर्णः अस्ति. तस्य गजस्य स्थूलस्य गजस्य. We are trying to use as many विशेषणास् as possible.
Okay.
सप्तमी विभक्तौ एकं वाक्यं रचयतु.
तस्मिन्
on which elephant am I?
कस्मिन् गजस्य उपरि गजेन उपरि सः तिष्ठति. तिष्ठामि
उपविशामि. What is gaja in saptami ekavachanam?
कस्मिन् गजे.
कस्मिन् गजे
अहं उपविशामि.
उत्तमम् उत्तमम्. तस्मिन् स्थूले गजे is one possible answer. So look at the sentences given here. For Panchami, Bhitihi is used. So as we have studied, bhiti, whenever bhiti is there, whatever we are afraid of, that is in Panchami Vibhakti. So here we are saying, from which elephant am I not afraid? So kasmat bhitihi nasti. Kasmat gajat bhitihi nasti. So whenever there is bhitihi, Panchami form should be used. Same way, Saptami is there. So snihyami, sneha bhavam, pritihi, ityadi. What you said is also correct. These are, if you try to use these in sentences, it will be more of a translation. Astu. Strilingam upayujya vakyani rachayamah. Rajashri Mahoday, ekam prashnam rachayatu prathama vibhaktau.
सा का
सा का उत्तमम्.
सा महिला
सा महिला, सा सुंदरी महिला. द्वितीय विभक्तौ
तां महिलां किं पृच्छामि.
ओके, समाधानं
तां महिलां प्रश्नं पृच्छामि.
उत्तमं. तृतीय विभक्तौ
तेन महिलया सह कुत्र गच्छामि.
what is the tritiya vibhakti kim form? Is it tena in
कया महिलया सह कुत्र गच्छामि. कां महिलां पश्यामि. तां सुन्दरीं महिलां पश्यामि.
that is tritiya vibhakti. So mahila, tritiya vibhakti ekvachanam is mahilam. So if you want to talk about her, the prashna will also be in dvitiya vibhakti strilinga ekavachana. So kam mahilam. So you are doing tritiya vibhakti. Kaya mahilaya.
अहं कया महिलया सह गच्छामि. अहं तया सुन्दर्या महिलया सह गच्छामि.
उत्तम उत्तम. प्रिया महोदय, चतुर्थी विभक्तौ प्रश्नं पृच्छतु.
महोदय, अहं कस्यै महिलायै फलं ददामि. अहं तस्यै महिलायै फलं ददामि.
सुन्दरी
सुन्दर्यै अहं सुन्दर्यै
उत्तमं.
तस्यै सुन्दर्यै महिलायै फलं ददामि.
उत्तमं. पञ्चमी विभक्तौ
अहं कस्याः महिलायाः फलं स्वीकरोमि. अहं तस्याः सुन्दर्याः महिलायाः फलं स्वीकरोमि.
उत्तमं. So we just saw for Pumlinga, Panchami is used for conveying bhitihi. Can you form a Prashnavachaka using Prashnavachaka using bhitihi?
अहं कस्याः महिलायाः भीतिः मम कस्याः महिलायाः भीतिः अस्ति.
उत्तमम्. So literally translated into English, it means my fear from which woman is not there. Satyam. Uttamam. Panchami abhavat. Shashti karotu कृपया.
षष्टि कस्यां षष्टि
पंचमी षष्टि अस्ति.
कस्याः महिलायाः चित्रम् अस्ति.
समाधानं
तस्याः सुन्दर्याः महिलायाः भावचित्रम् अस्ति।
उत्तमं सप्तमी अपि करोतु कृपया
कस्यां सप्तमी कस्यां कस्यां महिलायां
निह्यामि
कस्यां महिलायां can we ask कस्यां महिलायां पुष्पाहारम् अस्ति?
On which woman is a garland? Is that what you mean to say?
Yeah, that's what I want to ask.
सत्यं वक्तुं शक्यते
कस्यां महिलायां पुष्पाहारम् अस्ति?
पुष्पहारम्
अस्ति। तस्यां सुन्दर्यां महिलायां पुष्पहारम् अस्ति।
उत्तमं महोदय धन्यवादः. So as we can see, all the different prashna forms, they are following the same linga, vachana and vibhakti of whatever it is a visheshana of. So here mahilam is a vishesha padam, kam is a visheshanam. So since mahilam is in ditya strilinga ekvachana, kam is also ditya strilinga ekvachana. Same way for all the other prashna. Let's quickly wrap up the napumsakalinga and we can go to the next topic. पाठ्यक्रमः अस्ति. अनुराधा अनंत महोदय भवती अस्ति वा?
आम् महोदय.
पृच्छतु महोदय. नपुंसकलिङ्गे
तत् किं? तत् मन्दिरं.
तत् मन्दिरं. Let's also practice takaranta shabda. I want to say it's a big temple. Katham vadami?
It is a big temple. Oh, tat brihat mandiram.
Tat brihat mandiram. Satyam. Or mahat mandiram. द्वितीय विभक्तौ पृच्छतु प्रश्नम्.
किं मन्दिरम् अहं पश्यामि? किं मन्दिरम् अहं पश्यामि? तत् बृहत् मन्दिरम् अहं पश्यामि.
उत्तमं. तृतीय विभक्तौ
what can I say? It should be मन्दिरेण तेन किं भवति? तेन किं भवति? No. What happens if I go to temple? That's what I want to say, but that's not going to be in Tritiya.
Tritiya will be what? Tena.
Mandirena by mandir and with mandir. I can't think of anything. Aham kena mandirena anandam prapnomi. Oh, okay. Aham kena mandirena anandam prapnomi. Okay. Okay. Aham etena mandirena anandam prapnomi. Etena mahata mandirena anandam prapnomi.
उत्तमम् उत्तमं. चतुर्थी अपि करोतु कृपया.
तस्मै मन्दिराय अहं पुष्पम् आनयामि. तस्मै मन्दिराय अहं पुष्पम् आनयामि. एतस्य नै तस्मै मन्दिराय पुष्पम् अहं आनयामि. Now this mahata will become mahate. Aham mahate मन्दिराय पुष्पम् आनयामि।
तस्मै महते मन्दिराय
अस्तु,
उत्तमम् उत्तमम्।
सेवां समर्पयामि।
विजयसुन्दर महोदय पञ्चमी
धन्यवादः महोदय।
धन्यवादः।
आं महोदय।
पञ्चमी
अहं कस्मात् मन्दिरात्
गृहमागतः।
हलो
वदतु महोदय।
अहं कस्मात् मन्दिरात् प्रसादं स्वीकरोमि। अहं तस्मात् महते मन्दिरात् प्रसादं स्वीकरोमि।
What is Mahat Shabda in Panchami? Is it Mahate?
महता
Mahat.
महत्
Mahatah. Shashti?
कस्ये
You can't hear.
There is a lot of background noise.
yeah, just a minute. Let me. I think it's a fan. अहं कस्याः
Mahoday, I can't hear you. Please.
Yeah, just a minute.
Astu. We will go back to Vijay Sundara Mahodaya. Vijay Menon Mahodaya. There is a lot of background noise, Mahodaya. I can't hear you.
Still you have?
Still I have.
Oh, I switched off the fan actually.
There is a lot of background noise. I'm not sure from here. Chinta Nastu, we'll come back to you. Vijay Menon Mahodaya, Kaman Karoti. Shashti.
Yeah, Shashti. कस्य मंदिर
Mandira Shashti.
मंदिरस्य कस्य मंदिरस्य
चित्रं पश्यामि.
कस्य मंदिरस्य चित्रं पश्यामि. It is also Mahata, I think. Okay, aham तस्य महतः मंदिरस्य चित्रं पश्यामि.
उत्तमं. सप्तमी.
सप्तमी कस्मात् sorry कस्मिन् okay. कस्मिन् अहं कस्मिन् मंदिरे कस्मिन् मंदिरे in the temple अहं कस्मिन् मंदिरे
प्रार्थनां करोमि.
उपविशति something in the
प्रार्थनां करोमि. किमपि
प्रार्थना करोमि. Okay, अहं कस्मिन् मंदिरे प्रार्थना करोमि.
प्रार्थनां द्वितीयविभक्ति.
ओके, प्रार्थनां करोमि. अहं what is the महती okay. अहं महती मंदिरे प्रार्थनां करोमि.
अहं तस्मिन् महति मन्दिरे प्रार्थनां करोमि. उत्तमम् उत्तमम्. अस्तु. So that is how the Kim Shabda in its different forms follow the Vishesha. So it will be Visheshana. प्रश्नः अस्ति वा? स्पष्टं वा? अस्तु, अग्रे सरामः. एकः श्लोकः अस्ति. काकः कृष्णः, पिकः कृष्णः, कः भेदः पिककाकयोः वसन्तसमये प्राप्ते काकः काकः पिकः पिकः. So shloke it is actually ko, but because of sandhi kaha becomes ko. So kaha bhedaha. So bhedaha is prathama ekavachanam. So we will use the prathama ekavachanam form of him kaha. So what is this shloka trying to say? Preeti Mahoday, bhavati prayatnam karoti va?
अस्तु महोदय. काकः कृष्णः अस्ति. I'll start from
वदतु.
क्रियापदम् अत्र अस्ति. अत्र काकः कृष्णः पिकः कृष्णः. कः भेदः पिककाकयोः? अस्तु. काकः कृष्णः अस्ति, पिकः कृष्णः अस्ति. कः भेदः किं? नाट् किं, कः भेदः द्वयोः मध्ये? कः भेदः इति? वाट् इस् द डिफरेन्स्?
अत्र विशेषणं किं, विशेष्यं किम् अस्मिन् वाक्ये?
कृष्णः इति विशेषणं वर्णः अस्ति. कृष्णः काकः, कृष्णः पिकः अपि. द्वयोः विशेषणं कृष्णः एव.
अस्तु. अनन्तरम् अत्र पिककाकयोः कः भेदः? अत्र विशेषणं किम्?
कः भेदः? कः अपि विशेषणम् एव. प्रश्नवाचकः विशेषणं.
कस्य विशेषणं?
भेदः. भेदः पदस्य विशेषणं. वसन्त किं महोदय?
न वदतु महोदय.
वसन्तसमये प्राप्ते काकः काकः पिकः पिकः. अत्र काकः काकः अस्ति, पिकः पिकः अस्ति. अत्र काकः एव काकः शब्दस्य विशेषणम् अपि.
अत्र विशेषणभावं नास्ति. It's just a way of नास्ति. It is just a way of saying. It's just a way of expressing. So it is saying when the springtime comes, a crow remains a crow and a cuckoo is a cuckoo, like that. So that is how they are. Even in our mother tongue we say it, right? Kaki kaki eva, like that. So it's a form of expression. Atra visheshana bhavam na.
It refers to the same.
Yeah. Crow remains a crow. So what it's trying to say is, a crow is black, a cuckoo is black. Then what is the difference between the two? The answer is, when springtime arrives, a crow will be a crow, whereas a cuckoo will be a cuckoo. What does it mean? It means cuckoo will start singing, and then the difference will come out.
So here Bedaha is Visheshya, right?
Satya. Bedaha Visheshyam asti, Kaha Visheshanam asti. अन्ये प्रश्नाः सन्ति वा अत्र? स्पष्टं वा एतत् श्लोकम्?
महोदय,
पृच्छतु महोदय.
see, it says Vasanta Samaye, right? So if it was Vasante Samaye, then it will be Visheshyam and Visheshanam, right?
Vasante.
Or Vasanta Samaye, because it is one word, you can't say, because Kaha Sam, I don't know, I'm just asking. I don't know.
So Vasanta Samaye Prapte, this is something called Sati Saptami.
Okay, yeah.
That is a advanced prayoga which we'll learn next year. Basically, what it is trying to say is, at the time of arrival of spring. So when here they are talking about two different times, coming of something and in spring. So they are talking about two different times, but they are related. So Vasanta Samaye Prapte. So that is how the usage is. We use it in the Saptami Vibhakti form. It is called Sati Saptami. We will see this in detail next year.
Yeah. Thank you, Mahoday.
अन्ये प्रश्नाः सन्ति वा? अस्तु, अग्रे सरामः। कीदृश इति एकम् अन्यं प्रश्नवाचकशब्दमस्ति। कीदृशम् or कीदृश basically means what type or what kind something is. एतदपि विशेषणम् अस्ति. So there is a Pumlinga, Strilinga and Napumsakalinga form. All three vibhaktis, all 7 vibhaktis and all 3 vachanas. So Bhimaha Kidrushaha Purushaha. So we can't say Kidrusham Purushaha or Kidrushi Purushaha. Kidrushaha Purushaha. What type of person is Bhima? Bruhan Purushaha. If you remember, Bruhan is the Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachana Pumlinga form of Bruhat Shabda. Same way in Strilinga, Sita, Kidrushi Nari. What type of woman is Sita? Sa Uttama Nari. Napumsakalinge, Tat Kidrusham Pushpam, Sundaram Pushpam. So Kidrusha is normally used when we want to ask a question about a Visheshana. So for example, if you see a Vakyam like Sita Uttama Nari, so how would we ask the question? Sa ka, sa nari, punaha ka, sa Sita. Then Uttama is a Visheshanam of Sita. So how do we know what kind of woman is Sita? How do we ask that question? The question is Kidrushi Nari. Sita Kidrushi Nari. Sita Uttama Nari. And the Kidrusha form exists, like I said, in all 3 lingas, all 7 vibhaktis and all 3 vachanas. So the forms follow in Pumlinga, it follows the Akaranta Pumlinga form. So just like Rama, Ramaha, Rama, Ramaha, etc. In Strilinga, it is not Akaranta but Ikaranta. It is like Nadi, Nadivat asti. Kidrushi, Kidrushau, Kidrushaha. Similar to Nadi, Nadyau, Nadyaha, ityadi. And Napumsakalinge punaha Akaranta Shabdam asti, Phala Shabdavat. Kidrusham, Kidrushe, Kidrushani, ityadi. Udaharanam pashyamaha abhyasa samaye spashtam bhavati. We will see examples as part of Abhyasa. It will become very clear. Let us move on to the next topic. One of the most foundational topics of Sanskritam, Anvaya Rachana. So, as I was saying before, some of you joined, in a shloka. So, let us take a Vakyam for example. Balakaha Pustakam Pathati. Atra Kriyapadam kimasti?
Patati.
Patati. Karta kaha?
Karta balakaha.
Karmapadam asti va?
Pustakam, yes.
Pustakam. Atra Ramaha kaha? What is the order in the things are arranged?
Karta, karma and kriya.
So normally the way we have been studying Vakyas is Kriya Padam is always at the end. Kartru Padam most of the time is at the beginning. Karma Padam is somewhere in between. And any other Padam is any other vibhakti will be in between the karta and kriya. There is no such rule. You can also say balakah patati pustakam. You can also say pustakam balakah patati. कृपया म्यूट मध्ये भवन्तु. There is a lot of feedback. प्रज्ञा महोदय म्यूट मध्ये भवतु.
प्रज्ञा महोदय please.
प्रज्ञा महोदय धन्यवादः. पुस्तकं पठति. म्यूट मध्ये भवतु महोदय. There is a feedback from you. पुस्तकं पठति बालकः. पठति बालकः पुस्तकं. पठति पुस्तकं बालकः. Are all these forms the same, or is there a difference between them?
Same महोदय.
अर्थभेदम् अस्ति वा?
नास्ति.
अर्थभेदं नास्ति. परन्तु यदि एकं वाक्यं पश्यामश्चेत् अवगमनार्थं सुलभमस्ति. It is easy to understand it, mainly because this is the order in which we are used to seeing vakyani. Right? So, if somebody says patati balakah pustakam,
some disturbance is there there.
Still?
Yeah.
Mahodaya.
Now it's okay.
So, whichever form of this vakyam we see, the meaning is the same, but we are used to seeing vakyani in this form, where kriya is usually at the end, karta is usually at the beginning, and other words, other padani, they are in between. So this form is easiest to understand. Parantu kim bhavati in shlokas, when we read shlokas, for example, the first shloka that we say as prarthana shloka, Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Atra Sarvada Kriyapadam Nasti. Atra Kriyapadam Kim Asti?
Kuru.
Kuru is the Kriyapadam. Karta Kaha?
Deva. Karta is Deva.
Deva va. Deva karta padam kartrupadam asti chet devaha iti bhavet kila. Deva. It is not devaha.
Vayam.
Deva.
No.
Aham will be the.
Kuru. What is Kuru? What is the vivaranam of Kuru?
मध्यम पुरुष एकवचनम.
Madhyama purusha. So who?
Tvam Kuru.
Tvam. If it is Madhyama purusha ekavachana, karta can only be Tvam. It cannot be anybody else. Karomi asti chet aham will be the karta. So when you look at this shloka, there's a lot of things going on. We are not used to seeing. We now have to search for the kriya. We have to search again for karta, and in this case the karta is not even given, so we have to infer the karta, and all these words are scattered in a random order. For example, Deva, it is a sambodhana. Vakratunda is also sambodhana. We are used to seeing sambodhana forms together if we are referring to the same person. But here it is here, it is here, it is here, and then somewhere else it is here. So this, as it is, it is a little hard to understand immediately while looking. However, this is how most shlokas are. But if this were rewritten in this form, He Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Me Nirvighnam Kuru. What does this mean? Tasya artha kaha? Anybody?
The Vakratunda is a broken, I think, trunk. Mahakaya is a big body. Then Koti Surya Samaprabha is equal to your equivalent to a crore, 1 crore Surya. Such a Deva. In all my work, Sarva Karyeshu, in all my work, make it without free of obstacles.
Sarvada.
Always.
Sada.
Always.
Sada. Is this easy to understand? Is this form easy to understand?
No, the second one definitely.
Second one definitely. So why do we have to write it like this, or why did our rishis and munis and purvajas form words like this and not like this? Why did they make our life so hard?
It is more rhyming.
So we can remember. We can remember, but we can't understand. If we understand, we can't remember.
They wanted to put it in a shlok form so that it is pleasant to the ears also.
Satya. It is easy to remember. It is pleasant to hear. They many times they also rhyme. So the other thing is you can easily set this to some kind of a music. Maybe not this particular shloka, but many shlokas, many prarthana shlokas that we normally recite, they are musical, right? Whereas if a vakyam is given, you can't set it in music. And when something is set in music, it is easy to remember. It touches your heart, and it does its job, right? Music is much better than a simple sense. So that is one of the reasons why shlokas are like this, whereas vakyas are like this. So Anvaya Rachana.
And Mahoday, I have one more. Mahoday, I have one more answer. I don't know whether it is right or wrong, but every shloka they want 16 alphabets, and if you write in a sentence form, it will become more alphabets. So that also is not acceptable. 16 words are used in every shloka practically.
It depends on the chandas and the alankaras used. 16 in some form of chandas. Not everybody. Not in everything. Anushtuk chandaha asti chet 16 satyam. But there are other Gayatri chandas asti, our famous Gayatri mantra. So it is not 16 like that. And even the number of syllables in each word depends on the chandas that is used. So Satya.
Dhanyavad.
In fact, if you may know this, the entire Ramayana is composed in such a way that it can be sung. The first recitation of Ramayana was in a song form. I don't know how many of you know. And who sang the first form of Ramayana?
Navakusha.
Satya. So when Valmiki taught them while Sita was living with him, they sang. Who did they sing it to?
Rama.
Satya. So they sang the entire Ramayana to Rama. That was the first presentation of Ramayana. So if entire Ramayana can be sung, it is only possible because it's in the form of a shloka, and it is set to certain chandas. As Prajna Mahodaya was saying, it is set to certain chandas, so it rhymes, and the words break in a certain pattern. However, as we saw, it takes time to decipher. So Anvaya Rachana is basically two things. One, rearranging the words in a shloka to a form that we are familiar with. And the second thing is finding the relationship between the Kriya Pada and the different other padas in the vakya. So anvaya basically means sambandha or relationship. So one of the ways is called akanksha kramaha. Akanksha, what does akanksha mean?
Curiosity.
Curiosity.
Inquisitiveness.
Desire, is it?
Desire, ichha. So what are we desiring here? Why is it called akanksha kramaha? What is the desire?
Desire to understand the meaning.
Desire to understand the meaning of the shloka, satyam. But to get to the meaning, to get to the point where we can understand the meaning, we first have to understand the relationship between the kriya and the other word. So the way we used to do for vakyas is, as Anuradha Mahodaya has done it, is balakah pustakam pathati. How do we find out the relationship between pathati and balakah and pustakam? Or is there a relationship between pathati and pustakam and balakah?
Asking the question to the kriya, right?
Asking the question to the kriya. So why do we ask the question to the kriya and not to balakah or something else?
Because all vibhaktis are related, except Shashti, all vibhaktis are related to the kriya.
Uttamam, uttamam. And what is Shashti related to?
It is related to the other vibhaktis, the karta.
Other
word, not just karta. It can be karma, it can be other tritiya vibhakti, etc. Uttamam. So asmakam akanksha asti kriyapadasya anye padanam sambandha kaha. Sambandha, another word for sambandha is anvaya. What is the anvaya between kriyapadam and the other word? Tadeva asmakam saeva asmakam akanksha asti. Atah etasya nama akanksha krama akanksha krama. So first, always identify the kriya padam. The way we used to do it in the sentences is also the way we will follow for shloka. So first identify the kriya padam. Anantaram prashna dwara anye karakanam anvayah. So then keep asking questions. Balakah pustakam pathati. Kriya padam is what? Pathati. Then start asking questions on the kriya padam so that we can find the relationship between this kriya padam and the other word. So what are the questions we can ask? Kaha pathati, balakah pathati, kim pathati, pustakam pathati. Done. Now we know the relationship between pathati and balakah and pustakam. And if the sentence is longer, we'll keep asking questions so that we finally arrive at a anvaya or sambandha between the kriya padam and other padani. So what are the other padas called? Karaka.
Are they not namapada? We can't call them namapada.
See, everything is a namapada. In Sanskritam, if you look at it, there are only two types of pada, kriya pada and namapada. Anything that is not a kriya pada is a namapada. Avyayam is a namapada. Prathama vibhakto yat padam asti tadapi namapadam. Tritiya vibhakto asti tadapi namapada. Everything, in any vibhakti, whatever is there, that is a namapadam. But the words that are in different vibhakti forms, they are called karaka, except for Shashti vibhakti, as Rajashri Mahodaya pointed out. So karaka is something that has a relationship to the kriya pada. Vakye kriyaya saha anyesham padanam anvayah. Anvayah ityukte sambandha. So the karaka in the prathama vibhakti form is called karta. What is the karaka in the dvitiya vibhakti called?
Karma.
Karma. Tritiya vibhaktau?
Karanam.
Karanam or upakaranam. So kaha karoti, kim karoti, kena karoti. Chaturthi vibhaktau?
Sampradhanam.
Sampradhanam, uttamam. Kasmai. Panchami?
Adanam.
Upadana.
Apadanam. Shashti to nasti. Shashti is not a karaka because it's related to the other karaka. Saptami?
Sambandha. No, sorry, not Putra.
Shashti is sambandha to other karakas.
Location?
Location. Satya. तस्य संस्कृते कारकस्य नाम जानाति वा? चिन्ता मास्तु. अधिकरणम्. So whatever is in prathama is karta, dvitiya is karma, tritiya is called karanam, chaturthi is called sampradhanam, panchami is called apadanam, saptami it is called adhikaranam. And I know for a fact that these are the same names we use in Hindi and in Telugu. I don't know about other languages, but in Telugu and Hindi also they have the same name. नीना महोदय कृपया म्यूट मध्ये भवतु. स्पष्टं वा? Is this clear? So Akanksha Krama.
It said something about Shashti on the last line. No, what is it saying? So Shashti will not be a part of the Anvaya.
So Shashti Vibhaktehe Anvayatu Anyaihi Karakaihi Bhavati. So what is it is saying is the relationship of the word in Shashti Vibhakti is with the other words and not with Kriya. Same thing that Rajeshri Mahodaya said.
Yeah, then
So if we go back, so Akanksha Kramaha. So Asmakam Akanksha Akanksha Asti Kriyapadasya Prathamam Shodhanam. What is the Kriyapada? And then Kriyapadasya Anye Padanam Krite Sambandha Kaha or Anvayaha Kaha. So what is the relationship between the Kriyapada and the different karakas? So that is our Akanksha, that is our desire. So once we know that, we will be able to know the meaning of the Vakya or the Shloka. And this Paddhati, this method of arriving at the relationship between the different parts of the sentence or Vakya is called Akanksha Kramaha or Akanksha Paddhati. And the way we arrive at the relationship, as we saw, is by asking questions on the different words. So for each word, what is the relationship of that word to the Kriyapada? And the way you ask the question is such that pratyekasya prashnasya ekameva uttaram apekshate. So you ask the question in such a way that you get only one answer. That way you will know the relationship of each word. So if you ask a question in such a way that you get 2 or 3 different words, then you will not be able to know between the 3 words what is the relationship of each of those words to the Kriya. So you ask question such that you get only one answer. As we saw here, Kaha Pathati, Balakaha Pathati. So when we ask the question Kaha Pathati, there can only be one answer. Only one word is the answer. It cannot be Pustakam Pathati. Same way, Kim Pathati, that question will elicit only one answer, and that is Pustakam. So as the Vakyam grows big, ask questions in such a way that you get only one answer. We will look at examples, but is this explanation clear? Prashnaः सन्ति वा अत्र?
नास्ति clear.
So बालकः पुस्तकं पठति, आदौ क्रियापदस्य अभिज्ञानं, knowledge of क्रिया. What is क्रिया? पठति. प्रथमः प्रश्नः कः पठति? बालकः पठति. किं पठति? पुस्तकं पठति. So let us follow the same procedure first with vakyani, and once we become comfortable asking questions in different kinds of situations, then we will move to shlok. So let's first practice with vakyani. Preeti Mahoday, एतस्य वाक्यस्य अन्वयः करोतु, अन्वयं करोतु.
क्रियापदं लिखति, का लिखति, छात्रा लिखति. छात्रा कम लिखति, अभ्यासं लिखति. छात्रा अभ्यासं लिखति. छात्रा कया अभ्यासं लिखति. छात्रा लेखन्या अभ्यासं लिखति.
छात्रा लेखन्या अभ्यासं लिखति. अत्र it should be come. Kim is also okay. So if you don't know the linga of a particular word, in this case we know abhyasa is pumlinga, but if you, for example, didn't know what is the linga, then you can use kim also. So using kim is not wrong, but since we are learning to use the proper vibhakti form, this should have been kam likhati. I will fix it. But kim is also okay. अत्र प्रश्नाः सन्ति वा? स्पष्टं वा?
स्पष्टं.
स्पष्टं. विजयसुन्दर महोदय, भवान् करोतु एतस्य अन्वयः.
पिता बालिकायै प्रातःकाले सङ्गणकम् अददत्. क्रियापदं here is अददत्. किम् अददत्? सङ्गणकम् अददत्.
उत्तमम्.
To whom given is बालिकायै.
प्रश्नः किं भवति? प्रश्नः
कस्यै?
उत्तमं. कस्यै सङ्गणकम् अददत्? समाधानं?
बालिकायै सङ्गणकम् अदत्त.
उत्तमम्. अनन्तरं
who has given the balika this thing? How do you say?
पिता. Pita. What is the linga vachana vibhakti of pita?
Pita. Pullinga ekavachanam.
Prathama vibhakti.
Prathama vibhakti.
So what is the prashna vachaka form of prathama pullinga ekavachanam?
Okay. Kaha balikau. Kaha balikayai sanganakam adatta.
तस्य समाधानं पिता. One more word is there. प्रातःकाले.
कथं?
कदा. सत्यं. So क्रियापदम् अददत्. कः अददत्? पिता अददत्, किम् अददत्, सङ्गणकम् अददत्, कस्यै सङ्गणकम् अददत्, बालिकायै सङ्गणकम् अददत्, कदा बालिकायै सङ्गणकम् अददत्, प्रातःकाले सङ्गणकम् अददत्. So the order in which you ask the questions is not important, but usually as soon as we identify the kriya, we first try to identify the karta. Can somebody guess the reason why?
Who does the work? Who does what?
Parantu, the way you ask the questions also, we arrived at the same result, but why is it preferable to know the karta as soon as we know the kriya? Is there any benefit?
Yeah,
the
karta and the kriya, they
related.
The kriya matches with the karta. If it's ekavachana, kriya will be ekavachana.
Purusha and vachana,
Linga.
not linga, purusha and vachana will match.
And Mahoday, one question here. Last one can be kasmin also.
Kasmin samaye, we can ask.
Because Pratakale is Saptami, right?
Saptami. Kadai, but it is time. Pratakale in the morning. So you can ask kada or you can ask kasmin samaye. You can do both. So the relationship between the kriya and the karta is the vachana and the purusha. Of course, there is no purusha for kartrupadam, but what I'm trying to say is, if you know the purusha of the kriya padam, for example, let's take an easier example here. Pathasi. So we know it is prathama purusha. So karta cannot be aham, avam, vayam. It cannot be in madhyama, tvam also, tvam, yuvam, yuyam. It cannot be those things. So it has to be something that is talking about somebody else. Balakaha, balika, chhatra, etc. So it cannot be aham. But if the kriya padam is pathami, then you immediately know that balakaha cannot be, in this particular case, balakaha cannot be kriya. So you'll have to look for, is there a word aham somewhere in this sentence? Patha, if it is there, then you'll know it should be in madhyama purusha. So tvam, you look for that. So that's one of the reasons why it helps if you identify the kartru padam first after identifying the kriya. But there is no such rule that you have to do it that way. I prefer to do it this way. First identify karta, then karma, and then the other part. That way the relationship is easier to understand, and that's how our minds are used to reading Sanskrit. But you can do it in whichever way. Prashna santi vatra? Agre sara. Vijay Sundara Mahodaya, Krupya mute madhye bhavantu Mahodaya. There is a lot of feedback from you. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Manjusha Mahodaya, Bhavati Karoti.
एतत् पदे एतत् वाक्ये क्रियापदं वन्दे अस्ति.
उत्तमम्.
वन्दे
वन्दे
आत्मनेपदी उत्तमपुरुष एकवचनम्.
उत्तमम्. So karta has to be aham. It cannot be anything else.
It cannot be anything else. So karta aham. Kam vande. Aham kam vande. Aham Krishnam vande.
Uttamam.
Krishna is karma padam. then I don't know what to ask, but I know Jagat Guru is Visheshanam.
How do you know?
So,
How do you know?
then, because what kind of Krishna? Which, what? So then, I don't know.
Satyam. Is there another way to know that it is a Visheshanam?
Idrisham we can ask.
Idrisham Krishna.
Same vibhakti.
Same vibhakti, vachana, lingam, they are the same. That is also how you know. So, Kidrusham Krishnam Vande, Jagatgurum Krishnam Vande. Kriyapadam asti Vande, Kaha Vande, Aham Vande. Atra Aham iti Spashtataya na Drishyate. It is not written explicitly. So, such a word is called Adhyahritam. Adhyahritam means it is implied. Or you can infer it from the fact that this is in Uttama Purusha Ekavachana. So, the Karta cannot be anything other than Aham. Such a word, any word that is not explicitly stated but it is implied is called Adhyahritam. Kam Vande, Krishnam Vande, Kidrusham. So, the question, because this is the Visheshanam, we have to use the word Kidrusha and we have to use the appropriate linga vachana vibhakti. So, Kidrusham Krishnam Vande, Jagatgurum Krishnam Vande. Uttama. Anuradha Mahoday.
Mahoday, one question. Mahoday. So, Kidrisham question will be asked to the Visheshya.
Satyam. Correct.
Oh, good.
Atra, if it was Krishna, what question would you have asked?
Kidrishaha Krishna.
Kidrishaha Krishna. If it was Krishnena?
Kidrishena Krishnena.
Exactly. So, similarly for other vibhakti forms. Anuradha Mahoday.
Nahi suptasya simhasya pravishanti mrigaha. So, kriyapadam asti pravishanti. Kaha pravishanti, kaha kauke. Ke pravishanti, mrigaha pravishanti. Kriyapadam asti va nahi suptasya simhasya mukke. Padam nasti.
Karma padam nasti.
I'm sorry, karma padam nasti. Karma padam nasti.
One second.
Putra pravishanti.
Ekakshanam Mahoday. Atra, there is something that I want to point out. Atra Pashyantu, what is the meaning that this Vakyam is trying to convey?
It's saying that the animals will not enter into the line.
They will not enter. They will not enter. So it is
will not enter.
Kriyapadam is not just enter, but will not. Negation asti atra. So normally, whenever you have a negation, you combine, you club that negation to the Kriyapadam and make that also as part of your Kriyapadam. So that is one. The second thing is he. Atra he ityasya arthaha kaha?
Indeed, definitely.
Indeed, exclamation asti or emphasis asti. So whenever you have such a word that is used as an emphasis, you cannot ask any question on that. There are no question forms for that. So you combine that also as part of your Kriyapadam. I mean, if it is related, or if it is not related, then you ignore that because it doesn't change the meaning of the Vakya. It just emphasizes what the meaning is. Atra tu he is related to na pravishanti. Indeed, they do not enter. Iti asti arthaha. Ataha kriyapadam na hi pravishanti iti vaktum shakyate. or you can ignore he and say na pravishanti is the kriya pada. Spashtam va?
Spashtam.
Agre saratu.
So kriya padam nahi pravishanti karta mrigaha ke pravishanti mrigaha pravishanti.
Ke na pravishanti.
Kutra mrigaha pravishanti.
No.
Oh, I keep saying that. Okay. Ke na pravishanti mrigaha na pravishanti.
Anantaram.
Anantaram na pravishantaha mukhe na mrigaha mukhe na pravishanti.
Kutra na pravishanti. Mukhe na pravishanti.
Kutra na pravishanti mukhe na pravishanti. Kasya mukhaha na pravishanti.
Kasya mukhe.
Mrigaha na. Mukhe, I said mukhe na. Simhasya mukhe. Simhasya mukhe mrigaha na pravishanti. कीदृशस्य सिंहस्य मुखे मृगाः न प्रविशन्ति. सुप्तस्य सिंहस्य मुखे मृगाः न प्रविशन्ति.
Uttama. And कीदृशस्य is because suptasya is the visheshanam for simhasya. Uttama. Atra prashnaः santi va?
So Mahoday, here, so the mrigaha is the karta, is it?
Satya. So if you rearrange this to an order that we are familiar with, you could have said mrugaha suptasya simhasya mukhe na pravishanti. That is the order we are used to.
Correct.
Tina Mahoday, etat karotu.
धन्यवादः महोदय.
धन्यवादः. टीना महोदय अस्ति वा? अस्तु. राजश्री महोदय भवती करोति वा?
महोदय
करोतु.
क्रियापदं खादति. का खादति. पुत्री खादति. कां खादति. रोटिकां खादति.
उत्तमम्.
कीदृशी पुत्री खादति. उत्तमा पुत्री खादति.
अत्र पश्यतु. Uttama is a visheshana of putri. So whenever you find a visheshana, it helps to ask that related question, because then in your mind you will start forming the proper relationship. You can of course ask it at the end also, but it helps if you maintain that relationship as soon as possible. Establish that relationship as soon as possible. A great question.
कीदृशी पुत्री उत्तमा पुत्री. कां खादति. रोटिकां खादति. किं कृत्वा रोटिकां खादति वा? I am not sure.
उत्तमम्. अत्र लिखित्वा अस्ति. What type of word is लिखित्वा?
त्वान्तरूप.
त्वान्त. त्वा इति प्रत्ययः अस्ति. So whenever you have twa, what is the other pratyaya that is related to twa?
Lyap.
What is the difference between the two?
उपसर्गः सन्ति चेत् ल्यप् भविष्यति.
Satya. So whenever you have twa or lyap, the question you have to ask is kim krutva. So please make a note. Kim krutva rotikam khadati likhitva. Agre.
किं कृत्वा रोटिकां खादति. गृहकार्यं उत्तमा पुत्री.
No.
No.
You have to remember one more rule. Whatever question you ask, you can only expect one word as the answer. Likhitva, not gruha karyam likhitva, because that is two words.
Likitva uttama putri likitva rotikam khadati.
Uttama.
Then gruha karyam kim likitva rotikam khadati uttama putri. Uttama putri grihakaryam likitva rotikam khadati.
Uttama.
Mahodaya, one question.
So
here likitva also is like a kriya?
It is also like a kriya. So there are in fact two actions happening here. Khadati is the kriya padam.
After writing, okay, after writing.
After writing, she eats. So there are two questions. I mean two kriya padas. No, two actions. Not kriya padas, only one kriya pada. The other kriya pada has taken a form of tva. Agre,
So we have to ask question to twa to get the answer.
Satyam. So the word rotikam is related to khadati, that action. Parantu likhitva gruhakaryam is related to likhitva. So that is why you ask kim likhitva gruhakaryam likhitva. So you are not asking kim khaditva or kim khadati. You are asking it on kim likhitva. Satyam. Good observation.
Mahodaya, there should be one more question, right? Kasyaha putri.
We are coming to that. We are coming.
Oh, sorry. I thought you finished.
Yeah. The last one is kasyaha uttama putri grihakaryam likitva rotikam khadati. Gauryaha uttama putri grihakaryam likitva rotikam khadati.
Uttama. Atra Gauryaha Idrisham padamasti. What type of word is Gauryaha? Or what vibhakti is it in?
Shashti.
And we are not asking the Shashti question, Kasyaha, either on Likitva or Khadati. But we are asking on some other word. So please make a note of that, because Shashti is not a Karaka.
Okay.
Astu
Mahodaya.
Who has not got a turn this time around? Karoti Mahodaya. Vijay Menon Mahodaya.
Okay. Akanksha kramen. Akanksha kramena prashna dwara etesham vakyanam अन्वय रचनाम करोतु. Okay. शिशुः प्रातः काले क्षीरम अपिबत. Okay, apibat is the kriya. It is lang lakara. Okay. Kaha apibat shishuhu. Kim apibat kshiram. So karma is kshiram. Okay, prata kale. Kada or kasmin
samaye.
Kasmin samaye prata kale.
Uttama. Have we completed all the words?
Yes.
Uttama. Let's do one more. Priya Mahodaya, Antimam Vakyam Karoti Krupaya.
दिलीपः सूर्यवंशस्य नृपः क्रियापदम् अस्ति.
So what is asti there? What is the technical term? Because it is not given. Adhyahrutam.
कः सूर्य अस्ति
न क्रियापदम्. Ask the question on the क्रियापदम्. कः अस्ति?
कः अस्ति? दिलीपः अस्ति. दिलीपः.
Is there a relationship between Dilipaha and Rupaha? They both seem to be in Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachanam Umlinga.
Visheshana Vishesha.
Visheshana Vishesha. What is Rupaha mean?
King.
King. So, what is the Prathama Vibhakti Ekavachana Umlinga form for Visheshana?
Kidrishah.
कीदृशः. कीदृशः दिलीपः अस्ति. समाधानं किम्?
कीदृशः दिलीपः अस्ति? दिलीपः नृपः अस्ति.
नृपः दिलीपः अस्ति. You can put it in whichever order you want, but usually the Visheshanam goes in the front. If there are 5 or 6 Visheshanani, they all go in the front, and the last word is the Visheshanam.
नृपः दिलीपः अस्ति. कस्य वंशस्य नृपः अस्ति? सूर्यवंशस्य नृपः अस्ति दिलीपः.
अस्तु. प्रश्नाः सन्ति वा अत्र?
नास्ति महोदय.
समापयामः वा अत्र? अस्तु. प्रीति महोदय मङ्गलश्लोकं कृपया करोतु.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरिः ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम. धन्यवादः.
धन्यवादः महोदय.